Hello, this is Dr. Shan with your mental health moment. And today I'd like to talk to you about what to expect in your initial therapy session. I know a lot of people are very nervous about seeing a therapist and they're afraid to come in and talk to a total stranger about their life issues and concerns. But remember, we have been trained, we have years of training through school, through continuing education, and we specialize in different things. So when you go, first of all, pick someone who is trained in the issues that you're concerned about. So if it's depression, pick someone trained in depression. If it's anxiety, pick a therapist who knows about anxiety or PTSD, attention deficit, relationship issues, grief and loss, whatever it may be. Make sure you look for a therapist who's trained in your specific issue. And then the next thing, no, when you go in, there's going to be paperwork. Yes, there's going to be a lot of paperwork because we have to make sure that we get all of your information. So we want to know your background information, who lives in your home, if you have drug and alcohol issues, if you're dealing with grief, loss. We want to know, how do you eat? How do you sleep? And also we want to know, have you ever had any suicide attempts? Because suicide is a big concern for us, especially right now. So the suicide rates are up, the divorce rates are up, domestic violence is up. We want to know, have you ever been in an abusive relationship? With whom and for how long? So these questions need to be answered on that sheet. And then we ask you, is there anybody you want us to release your information to? So in that first session, you always need to come about 10 to 15 minutes early just to fill in paperwork. Right now, for those of us who are doing telehealth because of COVID, the paperwork is emailed to you or faxed or however you want it on a secure email or fax, and then you send it back. But again, there is a lot of paperwork. So give yourself an extra 10 to 15 minutes when you come in. So don't expect, if you come right at the top of the hour when your appointment starts, if you come at 12, you're going to have to spend the first 10 or 15 minutes that you will be talking to your therapist, filling out the paperwork. So arrive early. Usually your therapist has set the atmosphere for you anyway. You'll come in. There should be candles burning, or there might be candles burning, some type of aromatherapy going, diffuser, or some type of maybe music playing in the background. So the atmosphere should be calm and relaxing. So as you're filling in your paperwork, we want you to take your time, be relaxed, and focus on what you need to tell us. And always, always tell us what your presenting issue is. There should be a space on there to say, why is the reason that you came today? So with that, we do want to get as much information as possible. We will, in that first session, have you come in and give you some basic information as far as, suicidal ideation, if there's abuse again, if it's a child, we have to get informed consent from you and as well from that young person. We want them to sign and say, yes, it's okay to talk to me and treat me. And then there's some other things that we talk to you about. But the first session is just for you to come in, get to know the therapist, get to know, and we get to know you, and to help you feel relaxed and comfortable and to build rapport. That means just starting the conversation and having a relationship with you. And so it is uncomfortable to come in and tell this person that I don't know anything about my life story, but we're bound by confidentiality, meaning that we can't tell anybody anything that you talk to us about. It's your space, your time, and we want you to use it. We want you to trust us. And so there are ethics and laws in place so that we don't just run around and telling everybody your business. So that's not what we're here for. We're here to help you with your life and to bring about changes. So when you come into the session, we want you to sit down on the couch or the chair. Yes, most of us have a couch. And yes, sometimes people do lay down on the couch. So if you feel more comfortable laying on the couch, there's sometimes pillows for that, and we even have covers. So it depends on your therapist. Some may have pillows, some may have covers. Sometimes people come in and say, I just need the first 5 minutes to just free my mind. So they might play some music to help you to relax. They might go through some breathing exercises and teach you how to breathe in through your nose and blow it out through your mouth. So taking 7 deep breaths will help you to slow your heart rate, and it could bring your stress rate down by up to 50%. So just learning how to breathe, and most people don't really know how to take deep cleansing breaths. So sometimes people come in, and if they have anxiety or they're feeling stressed or have experienced some trauma, your therapist may just start with saying, hey, today, let's just start by breathing. Let's relax your mind. Let's help you to focus. And so again, knowing that it's a safe space for you to talk about your issues and concerns. Also, we're going to ask you for some goals. What do you want to obtain while you're here? What 2 or 3 goals do you have for this session? What do you want to accomplish while you're here? So always think about, why am I in therapy and what do I want to see change in my life because of therapy, right? Because you should not be with a therapist for 45 years, right? So there should be a start date and an end date. We want you to get better and go on and live well and be well. But you should know, when I go in, what do I want to work on? Is it my health, my mental health, my physical health? Is it my relationship with my spouse, my relationship with my children, my parents, my coworkers? Is it my anger? Is it my drug addiction? What is it that you want to work on? And then have specifics. Well, if it is, I want to lose weight, then maybe it is, I want to lose 10 pounds by a certain date, or I want to exercise 3 or 4 times a week, or I want to make sure I eat right. So whatever the issue is, take that larger issue and break it down into smaller parts. So you should always know there are goals for therapy. It's not just coming in and talking and venting. And so there are specific training techniques that we use as well. If you have PTSD, we might use prolonged exposure therapy. If you're dealing with just some stress and not being organized in your mind, we might use cognitive behavioral therapy, or we may use reality therapy if you're having some concerns and just feeling like, I don't know if this is right or wrong, or should I do this or that? So there are different techniques that we're trained in. So again, it's very important to make sure you choose someone who is trained in certain techniques. Do a little bit of research, but don't do so much research that you think you can self-diagnose, because people will do that. They'll say, oh, I know what my issue is. I'm depressed. And then when you come in and we give you an assessment or two and find out you don't have depression at all. Or, yeah, my girlfriend says she thinks I have anxiety. And you come in, we give you an assessment, and you don't have anxiety at all. You could just have a little bit of stress that's gotten out of control. Or you could be just overthinking one thing. So it may not be a true diagnosis. And know this, a lot of people that come into therapy, they don't need medicine. And so the stigma, the fear, if you go to therapy, you're crazy. Not true. The research says that, the people that go to a therapist are healthier than people that do not, because they have someone that they talk to who doesn't have any reason to judge you or be critical of you, who's not a family member or friend. It's nice to talk to your family member and friends, but they're not trained and they have not gone through the schooling. They don't have the license. They don't get the continuing education units. It's kind of like if you went to your mom or your dad or your best friend and said, hey, I've got this gash in my side and I can see I need stitches. Can you stitch me up? Well, they're not trained. They're not the medical doctor. So you don't want to get that advice from them. Just like if you have a mental health issue, you don't want to talk to your friends about ways to resolve it. You want to seek out someone who is trained and licensed in the field. The other thing is, don't be afraid to talk to your family members and friends and say, hey, I haven't been able to sleep, or I'm feeling suicidal, or I'm afraid for myself, or I'm afraid that I might hurt somebody else, because if you're having anger issues, you might be feeling not suicidal, but homicidal. So the goal is to talk to your family members and friends for support, and then help them help you and get you to the right therapist. But don't be afraid to come in. Again, I know a lot of people, especially people of color, we've been taught not to trust the doctors, whether it's the medical doctor or the mental health doctor. We don't tell our business. We keep it to ourselves. If you talk outside of the family, something's wrong with you. No, nothing's wrong with you. You're probably going to be the healthiest person in the family. And then you can sometimes take what you've learned and go back and share it with your family members and help them become healthier as well. And maybe even help them go in to see a therapist and sit down and have that first conversation. So with that, just remember, the first conversation is just to allow you to come in to a safe space, a relaxing atmosphere, and have a small conversation about those things that are taking place in your mind that have been bothering you. So this is Dr. Shan, and this has been your Mental Health Moment.